Hello, it's Ren Presents time. I'm your host, Ren, and today I want to talk about Star Wars. I'm finally going to hop on this train. It's been getting towards, 9 or 10 months since the Last Jedi came out. It's still pissing people off. I detected a stench coming out of Lucasfilm. Back when The Force Awakens came out, it felt fundamentally different. It seemed like it wanted a new set of eyes on it. Kathleen Kennedy didn't really seem to like the old rabid fan base, and she was going to poke that bear. It's kind of like if you're a baker and you specialize in matzo balls, and then you get bought out and some new hotshot CEO comes in and says, I'm sick of all of our Jewish customers. And instead, I want to sell our matzo balls to pink-haired, bespectacled, man-hating, ultra-feminists who probably won't buy any of our matzo balls. Anyway, that's pretty much what she did. All you fanboys don't need you. All you guys who've been dwelling in the basements and getting bad skin from your monitor sunburns. We've been buying all of our shit and going to see our movies multiple times and getting dressed up. Fuck you. We're going to find a whole new clientele, a cool one. You need not apply. But let me tell you something about the Star Wars fan base. I'm an author. I write books. You've probably never heard of them. That's okay. I have my fans. It's a small, intimate group, but it is growing like a cyst. That in an unsightly part of your body. Every so often, it just gets a little bit bigger. That's my fan base. Anyways, there has been nothing like the motile mass that is Star Wars fandom. It is relentless. It does not sleep. It has a million eyes and a million mouths, and it hears and sees all, and it can go anywhere you go, and it will find you, and it will give you no peace. Do not, Kathleen Kennedy, underestimate the power of nerds. One of the many news stories to come out of The Last Jedi is the combativeness between Lucasfilms, sans George Lucas, the actors, the director, and the fans. And lots of vitriol flying back and forth. And I wanted to focus on this Kelly Marie Tran problem. The lady who played Rose Tico gets a lot of bad press, gets called a lot of names. And I'm just, this poor lady, she just signed up to play a part in a movie and didn't know what she was getting into. And the blue checkmark army, safe in their tower in the Twitterverse, has made her plight one of their battle cries. Look what has happened to this poor girl. It's all the macho Star Wars fans' fault. But that's the whole thing. If you sign up to be in a Star Wars movie, you're signing up for the fan base, the fandom, the nerds, the basement dwellers, the pale, bleary-eyed folk that watch these things. That's what you're signing up for. It's just like if you want to play running back in the NFL and you don't want to deal with all the hootenanny that comes with it. You want the money, but you don't want the fame and the things that come with fame. Well, that's what's going to happen when you sign up to play Rose Tico on Star Wars. And it's not her fault that the character they wrote for her sucks. I mean, she's just pretty much every character in The Last Jedi sucks. Wow. Gets a lot of vitriol, a lot of backlash, a lot of hate speech on the internet, and withdraws from the internet for a time, just like Leslie Jones did in Ghostbusters, although that was proved to be fake. I say this is a clear indication of toxic fandom, of misogynistic men just finding a target. Not only are they misogynists, they're racist too, because she's Vietnamese, so obviously that's got to figure into it. But let's roll back the clock to 1999 when the Phantom Menace came out. So 99 was a whole different time. We were still, for the most part, unplugged as a society. The internet as we know it did not exist. It was mostly still the undernet, as it was called back in the days when I worked on mainframes at a library. Netscape just came out in '94, and the web browser based GUI interface internet was still just catching on, but it wasn't like what it is today. There wasn't. It was just much less content and much less stuff. Many of the establishments that we expect from the internet didn't exist yet. So you've got the Phantom Menace, the George Lucas's prequels. Say what you want. I personally like the prequels a lot. I mean, they felt like Star Wars. They had the George Lucas tin ear. They had the George Lucas faster, more intense sort of pacing, although they still managed to be a little boring. I don't know what he was thinking with Jar Jar Binks. Now, if he had actually had the stones to continue what he was doing with Jar Jar Binks and revealed him as a Dark Lord, that would have been the best reveal. I would have outdone the "I'm your father, Luke" reveal. Imagine Jar Jar Binks throwing it off, going, "Ha, yeah, you fuckers, it's me. I'm the Dark Lord." How awesome would that have been? And everyone would have gone, "God, I just thought you were a goof, but no, you're actually a butt kicker." That would have been awesome. I guess Darth Tyrannus, played by Christopher Lee, was just a last second thing, because Jar Jar was so universally panned by said fandom that and I guess even the actor Ahmed Best, who played him, had to go into therapy and was even suicidal at one point because of the fans. And this was, again, before you had the ease of the content heavy internet that we have today, And then right on the heels of Jar Jar Binks, as far as fanboy hatred, was Jake Lloyd, the little kid who played Anakin Skywalker. And he was universally despised as Anakin Skywalker. He just didn't... Whenever you associate something with Darth Vader, there's a lot of standards you have to live up to. And even a little boy playing pre-Darth Vader has to meet those standards, and I guess he wasn't imposing enough, wasn't scary enough, wasn't authoritarian enough for the fanboys' interests. And they let him have it to the point where he couldn't even go to school. Such was his harassment and bullying. And again, pre-content heavy internet, pre-blue checkmark internet, this was all analog, old school, in-your-face hassling. After a while, he said, "Fuck it. I'm going to burn all my bullshit. I'm going to just retire from public life. I'm going to grow me a goatee. And I'm going to maybe get thrown in jail a couple times and beat some people's asses just to make myself feel better." Danny Lloyd, same thing happened to him as happens to Kelly Tran. So his tale of woe sort of puts a wrench into the blue checkmarks narrative. This kid, this guy, getting the whole fandom treatment. And it was harder to get to him back then, but they did it. Anyways, the fandom cannot be stopped. Might as well beat the C back with a blue checkmark. Get back, C, get back. I mean, the people who follow these are just movies. And that's the thing that people bring up. It's just a movie. It's just a piece of fiction. But it's so much more than that. It's ingrained in people's lives. I used to rollerblade from my home outside of Xenia, Ohio, down an old train tracks that they converted into a running path, bike path, to Yellow Springs, Ohio, which if you've ever been there, Ohio is kind of a conservative place. But Yellow Springs is this pocket of ultra liberalism and ultra liberal sort of thinking. And the ground zero is Antioch University. You know, if you skate past it, it kind of looks like Dracula's castle. It's like, it makes the 60s look like the 50s, sort of. You know, it's a good place. It's a great place. But one day I was skating down the path, doing my usual circuit, and in front of me I see an assault taking place. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I see a dude dragging another dude across the path towards the woods. There was a pretty heavy forest right next to the path there in Yellow Springs. And I see a guy wearing kind of dark brown robes with a hood. I couldn't see his face. And he was leaning down, dragging somebody. Kind of looked like a farmer. He was wearing like plaid, blue and red plaid shirt with denim and like work boots and stuff, and he was dragging him by the shoulders into the woods. So I skate up, I hit the brakes, I'm like, what are you doing? And the guy looked up, and it was some hippie dude, some Yellow Springs guy. And he said, my son is about to turn 12, and I'm gonna put him to the test. I'm like, what test? And he said, well, there's a path here, and I'm going to have my son walk down this path. And about a quarter mile away into the woods, there's a fork, and one way goes left and one way goes right. And at the end of one path, I've placed a little box, and when you open it, there's a mirror that when you open the box, you see your face. And then down the other way is this mannequin that I'm going to hide. And I looked down, and sure enough, the guy he was dragging wasn't a guy. He was just a mannequin, a life-size mannequin made of straw with a werewolf's face, like a werewolf Halloween mask for a face. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. You're going to make your son go down this path, and if he walks one way, he looks into a box and sees himself. And if he goes the other way, there's a scary monster waiting for him at the end of the path. And he said yes. I mean, that's right out of The Empire Strikes Back. The little force test that Yoda put Luke Skywalker through. You're gonna try to educate your son using half-baked force logic it's just nothing. There's no force guiding your son. It's going to be a random choice, a flip of the coin, whether he goes left or right, whether he gets the ending that you want or he gets the half-ass monster. That's not good parenting skills, dude. That's just the luck of the draw, and you're letting George Lucas, you're putting him behind the controls and say, hey, if it worked for Luke Skywalker, it'll work for my son. But we all know what happened to Luke Skywalker. Became a freaking old cynic, didn't he? Thanks, Ryan, or Rian, however the hell you say your name. Fuck you. And I'm sure this dude from Yellow Springs is giving you the big old middle finger from whatever hovel yurt he inhabits there. The fans do not sleep, and the fans take this shit seriously. Kathleen, I mean, this isn't just a passing fancy for these people. They grew up living this, okay? And you have managed to poke this amorphous bear, and this bear is going to poke you back in many ways, and it's not going to be fun, and I'm sure you're not having fun right now. One parting thought, in the various book shows and conventions I go to, speak in panels. Sometimes I moderate, I put my 2 cents in, and one panel that was before mine, and I just thought I'd sit in on it, was a Star Wars panel, and it asked the question, if you're introducing your child to Star Wars for the first time, as if that's some sort of event, like introducing your child to a bunch of cheesy space opera movies with space wizards is like a rite of passage. Would you first introduce them to 1 to 3 or 4 to 6? Very half-baked premise. A lot of these panels just have a really dumb idea, and then some talking heads to sit there and pontificate about it for a while. I figured I'll just sit in and listen. And it was a packed hall. There was a lot of people. This is no San Diego Comic-Con, though. It wasn't like maybe 200-300 people in the room, tops. But within 5 minutes, this panel was out of control. The panelists were no longer in control. It was all the people sitting in on the panel, the audience. And it was getting ugly fast. People were taking sides. People were passionate about their side. Whether you believed it should be 4 to 6 first, and then 1 to 3, or do it, I guess, in chronological order, 1 to 3, and then 4 to 6. I swear, our Riot was just on the bleeding edge of happening. People were picking up chairs and getting ready to throw them. Security, the wide-eyed, deer-in-the-headlight security people are, with the little swinging identification cards on their necks, are walking in like, what the fuck is this? What is wrong with you people? You're about to have a riot, risk felony charges, and incarceration, and all that goes with it, over a goddamn movie? Really? Yes. That is the fandom. That's what you sign up for, Jake Lloyd, unfortunately. Kathleen Kennedy. Do you see what you're up against? It does not sleep. It does not yield. It does not forgive. So just bear that in mind when you think about these films. These aren't just films. These films, for many people, are a way of life. You have Yellow Spring guys wearing Emperor Palpatine robes who are ready to scar their children for life following the teachings of these movies. That's what we're dealing with here, and that's the love that these people have. So remember, when you're stirring the pot, when you're wanting to reevaluate your fan base and branch out in new direction, just remember there's people who live this, and what would they do without it? This is Ren Presents. I'm your host, Ren, and may the Force be with you.